from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka. From stories around the world to stories here at home, this is the National News Broadcast, coming to you live from the Rupavahini studios, bringing you stories for today. I'm Sharon Mascarenhas.
And I'm Siobhan Pereira. Let's take a look at the headlines right away.
Import restrictions of all items except vehicles will be eased from today. Funeral of veteran artist Jackson Anthony will take place on Thursday. Israel-Palestine conflict heightens, claiming 1,100 lives. Floods in Mathura recede. Relief measures for the affected people continue. The second World Cup match of Sri Lanka will be played tomorrow.
Now for those and other stories in detail, starting off with local news. Import restrictions imposed on all items except vehicles have been eased from today. State Minister of Finance Ranjit Siamalapitiya says that the relevant gazette notification has already been issued. State Minister of Finance Ranjit Siamalapitiya said that the government had to impose restrictions on import of goods due to the shortage of dollar in the country. Through this measure, the government has been able to ease the shortage of essential items. Since the dollar flow into the country is increasing, the government has taken measures to remove the restrictions gradually. Accordingly, any item except vehicles can be imported to the country. Funeral of the veteran artist late Jackson Anthony will be held at the St. Pedro and Paul Family Convent in Ragama at 3 p.m. on Thursday.
Jackson Anthony was 65 years old at the time of his death. Jackson Anthony has shown supreme skills as an actor, teledrama and cinema director, scriptwriter, singer and a critique of literature. He was born on the 8th of July 1958 in Ragama. He carried out his studies at the Hapugoda Primary School, St. Mary's College in Bandaravela and Galahitiya Central College in Ganemulla. He was a special honours degree holder at the Colombo University and has followed postgraduate studies at the Sri Jayawardhanapura University. He displayed his outstanding skills as an actor in the stage dramas titled Berahanda, Lomahansa, Tharavo Igileti, Madura Javanika and many others. He was also displayed his skills as a teledrama actor in Alla Langavalawa, Kadulla, Akala Sandhya, Pitagam Karyo and many other popular teledramas. He entered into cinema as an actor in the film Guru Gedara in 1993. After that, he acted in many films such as Bavaduka, Asvatuma, Suryarana and Garasarpa. He has won the Best Actor Award 16 occasions. In addition, he has many foreign awards for his skillful career as an actor. He has also created leading films such as Abba. He also has an investigative journalist background, especially in the fields of history and environment. He was a father of 3 children. He met with an accident on the 22nd of July last year.
මං සෑදරන ඕනා කියාගෙන කෙස් වල කඩාගෙන ජවුසන් නටනවා. උම්මේ හැදලා තියෙන බෙහෙත් කරන්න නෙමෙයි. බජව් දාන්න. අන්තෝනේ මොකද කරන්නේ?
පරද්දලා වේගෙන් දුවලා සිංහ කොඩිය උස්සලා ගෝල් මෙඩල් එකක් මේ රටට අරන් එන්න. Abba, the story of Prince Bandukabaya. එවුණත් බං
රාජගමනේ ඇවිත් බලව්ගේ මහිමේ
අදියති හම්බරට මෑන් හැම
While coming back from Anuradhapura in his cab, he met with an accident on the 22nd of July last year. His vehicle knocked on a wild elephant and had fatal injuries. Later, he was admitted to the intensive care unit of the Colombo National Hospital and had treatment for over 15 months. He succumbed to his injuries this morning. His remains will be lying at the Jayaratna Funeral Parlour in Borella till 11 p.m. tomorrow for public respect. His remains will be taken to his residence at Manigasuriya Vatta in Mihindumavata in Ragama Kadavata on Wednesday. Issuing a condolence message, Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena says that Jackson Anthony, who conquered many sectors in the artistic world, can be considered as a beacon for the future generations. He has shown his marvelous and mature skills in cinema, stage, television and the literary sector. The Prime Minister states that he was bestowed in many cultural values to the nation. He was a pioneer in creating new and innovative events in the field of art and nurtured the minds and the thinking of the public. The Prime Minister wishes supreme bliss of Nibbana for the late Jackson Anthony. Israel authorities says that over 700 people have died due to the unprecedented attack by the Hamas militants.
Meanwhile, Palestine health officials say that 511 people have been killed and 2,750 injured as a result of the Israeli missile strikes on the Gaza Strip since Saturday. Israel's defense minister orders a complete siege of the Gaza Strip. The ministry further stated that food, fuel, electricity and water supply from Israel are being cut as a result. Meanwhile, air raid alerts have sounded in northern Israel with reports of rockets being intercepted from Lebanon by Israel's air defense. Yesterday, the Islamist militant group Hezbollah fired missiles and artillery shells into Israel from southern Lebanon in solidarity with Hamas. No one was reported hurt. Israel responded by firing into the area of where the cross-border fire was launched from. Israel Defense Forces spokesman Daniel Hagari says the military has regained control of all communities near the Gaza barrier, but isolated clashes are ongoing with the active Palestinian gunmen. Air raid alerts have sounded in northern Israel with reports of rockets being intercepted from Lebanon by Israel's air defense. The US government has confirmed 9 of its citizens have been killed in Israel. In a statement, the White House extended condolences to the victims and to the families of all those affected. Gaza's health ministry says 511 people have been killed and 2,750 injured as a result of Israeli missile strikes on the Gaza Strip since Saturday. Israel says it is striking Hamas targets in Gaza following Saturday's unprecedented assault on Israeli civilians and soldiers by Palestinian gunmen who entered from the opening fire in the streets and in communities.
More on the situation in Israel. In a briefing to the cabinet, President Ranil Wickremesinghe expressed a deep concern over the recent attacks in Israel and its implications on Sri Lankans and Israelis residing in both the countries. President Wickremesinghe emphasized the need for immediate action to ensure the safety of Sri Lankans working in Israel. He directed the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to locate and ensure the well-being of these individuals. Additionally, he called for assistance in facilitating the return of Israelis, including tourists and employees from Sri Lanka to Israel, and urged the police to provide necessary security measures for Israelis within Sri Lanka. While reaffirming Sri Lanka's long-standing support for the two-state concept of Israel and Palestine, President Wickremesinghe condemned the recent Hamas attack on Israel, which resulted in the loss of numerous civilian lives. He stressed that despite past criticisms of Israel's actions, such attacks could not be justified. He noted that the ongoing conflict would likely lead to a prolonged period of high fuel prices, adversely affecting developing economies, including Sri Lanka. The President's statement underscores Sri Lanka's commitment to peace and stability in the region and its concern for the safety and well-being of its citizens and foreigners residing amidst the current crisis.
Ministry of Foreign Affairs says that Sri Lanka deeply concerned about attacks and escalation of violence in the Israel and Palestine. In a statement, Ministry of Foreign Affairs mentions that Sri Lanka is deeply concerned about the attacks and that Sri Lanka calls for an immediate halt to violence and calls on all parties to exercise maximum restraint to prevent further civilian casualties. Sri Lanka remains committed to supporting a negotiated settlement in line with the internationally agreed parameters of two states living side by side on the basis of 1967 borders. We extend our deepest condolences to all those who lost their loved ones and expressed our sympathies to the affected families. The Sri Lanka missions in Tel Aviv and Ramallah are monitoring this situation closely and are in contact with the Sri Lankans living in the affected areas. So far, one Sri Lankan has sustained minor injuries. President Ranil Wickremesinghe says that Sri Lanka will be directed to a positive economic growth using the human resources and the country's geographical importance.
Human resources should be used at the maximum level to rebuild up the country. The countries like Singapore and Hong Kong have achieved rapid development through the proper use of human resources. Now, the President made these remarks at a ceremony held in Pallekele today. President Ranil Wickremesinghe declared open the new branch of the Sri Lanka Information Technology Institute at Pallekele in Kandy. The President also visited the exhibition organized by the students of the Sri Lanka Information Technology Institute.
And to bring you the weather situation now, the flood situation in the Mathura district is easing gradually at present. The authorities have taken measures to continue providing relief to the affected people. Overflow of Nilvala River at Attudava Safety Dam has stopped at present. Minor flood situation is still prevailing in the low-lying areas in Katduwa, Tihagoda, Aturaliya, Karagoda, Uyangoda and Bandattara areas due to the slow flow of water currents in the Nilvala River. The people in the area says that receding floods have been blocked due to the blockade constructed near the estuary of the Nilvala River to prevent saltwater contamination. The people point out the need of taking immediate measure to accelerate the water flow into the sea. A discussion was held in this connection at the Ministry of Water Supply under the patronage of the Minister Kanchana Wijesekara. As a short-term solution, they have decided to remove the part of the saltwater blockade and other disruptions at the canals. Officers of the three armed forces are conducting these activities under the supervision of the engineers of the relevant sectors. Dry rations and cooked meals are being distributed to the affected people through the divisional secretariats, MOH officers and other state officers. 24,397 persons belong to 6,974 families have been affected in the Mathura district. 3,017 persons are still housed in 13 safety centres. Meanwhile, the irrigation department says that the flood levels in the river basins, including Ginganga, have gone down to the minimum level. However, our correspondent reported that floods are still visible in low-lying areas in the Vakwella, Dorangoda, Bope Koddala and several other places. The minor flood situation prevailing in the Bulat Sinhala Divisional Secretariat area owing to the overflowing of Kudaganga is easing at present. Motor transport in several roads is still impossible. Going to a short break. We'll be back with you soon.
Prima Kutumi, Pantamai.
President Ranil Wickremesinghe has appointed Arjuna Herath as the chairman of the Sri Lanka Personal Data Safety Authority. Arjuna Herath is a chartered accountant and a former advisor of the Ernst & Young Institute in Sri Lanka and the Maldives. Former state lawyer Nisithabe Surya, President's Counsel Soumya Amarasekara, digital legal expert Jayantha Fernando, Additional Secretary to the President Dr. Sulakshana Jayawardena, audit and technical expert of the International Standards Institute Bimsara Jayawardena, and electronic engineer Shehan Vijay Tilaka have been appointed as the members of the Sri Lanka Personal Data Safety Authority. The relevant Personal Data Safety Act was passed and empowered by the Speaker on the 19th of March 2022. With the new act, Sri Lanka has become the first country of the South Asian region that has prepared laws for the safety of personal data. The Private Data Safety Act is scheduled to be enforced in several stages. Aim of this act is to secure the safety of personal data of the public that are available in banks, state institutions, communication companies, hospitals and other such institutes. Malaysian Foreign Minister Sabri Qadir says that Malaysia will support Sri Lanka on its request made to join the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership or RCEP organization.
The Malaysian Foreign Minister made this comment at a discussion held with the Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena today at Temple Trees. Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena said by joining the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, Sri Lanka will be able to economic relations within the Southeast Asian region. The Prime Minister also invited Malaysian government to start new investments at tourism, educational and pharmaceutical manufacturing sectors in Sri Lanka. Then the Malaysian Foreign Minister said that his government expects to enhance the economic and trade partnership between the two countries.
Now, State Minister Shanta Bandara says that the Postal Department will be made profitable by 2025. Its structure will be adjusted to provide financial strength to the Treasury instead of depending on it. State Minister Shanta Bandara made these remarks at a media briefing held in Colombo today in line with the World Postal Day, which falls today. The Universal Postal Association was formed in 1874. Later in 1960, at the Universal Postal Conference held in Tokyo, it was decided to mark the World Postal Day on the 9th of October each year. The World Postal Day celebration in Sri Lanka will be held tomorrow at the Boyagane Army Camp premises in Kurunegala.
A medical clinic for the residents living in urban apartments, a dengue control program and several Shramadana campaigns were held yesterday in line with World Habitat Day 2023. The Urban Development Authority organized the dengue control program to prevent rapid spread of dengue fever with the existing rainy weather condition. It was held at the Metsanda Sevena apartment complex premises in Ganemulla. This apartment complex consists of 918 housing units. Several Shramadana campaigns were also held at the Sathiru Sevena apartment complex in Ganemulla and at Ranmitu Sevena apartments in Henamulla recently. There are over 1,200 housing units in these two housing complexes. A child skill development program was held at the Lakhiru Sevena apartment complex in Maligawatha yesterday for the welfare of the children living in this complex. This was also organized by the Urban Development Authority in line with the World Habitat Day. Several medical clinics have been organized for the welfare of the families living in the apartment complexes in and out of Colombo. One of them were held at Laksanda Sevena apartment complex in Kolonnawa. Another medical clinic was held at the Kolomtota Sarasavi Uyana apartment complex in Polhengoda. A program was held at the Mahavapi temple in Ampara yesterday to enhance the mentality of the Dhamma school students and to train them on leadership. This was also organized by the Housing Development Authority Area Office in Ampara. Another Shramadana campaign and tree planting program was organized in line with the World Habitat Day was held at the Kaddai housing complex in Jaffna recently. President Ranil Wickremesinghe instructed the officials to remove the overhead corridor built at the Bambalapitiya railway station within 10 days.
He has also instructed to construct a temporary accessway to the Bambalapitiya railway station. Now a sum of 50 million rupees will be allocated to construct a new flyover bridge at this place within 5 months. Meanwhile, a group of state officials monitored the dilapidated overhead corridor in Bambalapitia today. Several places of this corridor have been cracked. Measures have already been taken to remove the cracked concrete particles. Officials of the National Building Research Organization, Road Development Authority and the Railway Department participated in this observation mission.
Distribution of urea fertilizer needed for upcoming Maha season was kicked off today by the Lanka Fertilizer Company and Colombo Commercial Fertilizer Company. These stocks of urea fertilizer are scheduled to be distributed among the farmers, giving priority to the districts that are getting ready to start cultivations of the Maha season. In addition to the urea, the Bandi fertilizer will also be distributed by these two companies. Meanwhile, the mud fertilizer of the TSP fertilizer will be distributed by the private sector. Farmers are able to purchase the fertilizer from the state-owned companies or private sector at their consent. The government has decided to provide a fertilizer subsidy worth 15,000 rupees per hectare to purchase both chemical and organic fertilizer.
Minister of Ports, Shipping and Aviation Nimal Siripala de Silva says that a significant development Sri Lanka's aviation sector has reported a substantial profit of 22 billion rupees in the period spanning from January to August 2023. He made these remarks during a news briefing held at the President's Media Centre today, focusing on the theme, Collective Path to a Stable Country. Minister Nimal Siripala de Silva highlighted that approximately 10 million rupees from this profit has already been contributed to the treasury, providing a much-needed boost to the country's finances. He further said that efforts are underway to restructure Sri Lankan Airlines, the national carrier, with a focus on improving its operations and financial performance.
Here's more local news in brief. Students who scored highest marks at the GCE Advanced Level Examination were felicitated for their skills at the Ministry of Education today under the patronage of Minister Susir Premajanth and State Minister Vijitha Berugada. 18 students who had distinguished results were appreciated at this ceremony. The royalty of the sale of goods produced through various researches conducted by the Colombo University was offered to the university recently. These products are being sold by a private company. A nutritional medicine that kills cancer cells, a hair oil that controls untimely fall of hair, and a herbal application for joints pain and nutritious medicine to maintain the features of the body among the newly manufactured medicines. The ceremony in this connection was held under the patronage of the Vice Chancellor of the Colombo University, Professor H.D. Karnaratna. Stay with us. Foreign news coming up next.
Spicy fun vibe එක විවර කරන්න beat එක remake කරන්නට වෙන්න හදවත වහවලා යන්න ගින්දර fashion කරන්න fun උතුරන්න කොත්තමි kick එක මෙන්න TikTok viral යනවා නැතිල trending වෙනවා hot පහසක් නැවසෙනවා spicy රස වැටහෙනවා prima කොත්තමි fun තමයි.
Foreign news tonight, Taliban authorities says that more than 2,000 people have died after a powerful earthquake struck western Afghanistan on Sunday as the nation reels from another quake at a time of deep economic crisis.
The 6.3 magnitude earthquake struck on Saturday 40 kilometers west of Herat city in the western Herat province, the third largest in Afghanistan. Taliban spokesman put the number killed at 2,053 people, with more than 1,240 people hurt and 1,320 houses completely or partially destroyed. There are fears the toll could rise further. Rescue teams have arrived in the Herat province and food, water, medicine and clothes have also been sent to the site, Mujahid added. The initial quake was also felt in neighboring provinces in Badghis and Farah and was followed by multiple aftershocks. An earlier assessment from the UN had indicated a lower toll of around 100 dead and 500 injured. Close to 500 houses were reported destroyed.
And on your sports news tonight, Sri Lanka's second match of the World Cup will be played against Pakistan in Hyderabad tomorrow.
Prior to the match, Sri Lanka players participated in the final training session today. At the first match, Sri Lanka was defeated by South Africa by 102 runs. In tomorrow's match, Sri Lanka meet Pakistan, who had won the match against the Netherlands by 81 runs. Only 9 matches have been played in the Hyderabad Rajiv Gandhi International Cricket Ground so far. Sri Lanka has played only 1 match at this ground. Sri Lanka met Pakistan in 156 one-day encounters. Out of that, Pakistan has won 92 and Sri Lanka has 59 matches. 1 match was tied and 4 matches ended up without a decision. In the history of the World Cup, Sri Lanka meets Pakistan tomorrow for the 9th occasion. After the previous matches, Pakistan has won 7 matches and the other was abandoned due to rain. In the last Asia Cup, Sri Lanka defeated Pakistan. Mahesh Deekshana, who did not play in the first match due to an injury, will join the match tomorrow.
That's a game to look forward to. Now with that, we wrap up today's news bulletin. I'm Sharon together with Siobhan, wishing you a very